So I came up with an idea about Queen Street, and I will say shortly why I picked Queen Street. And I called it Why to Cook Queen Street, since we're talking about a recipe. First is why we crave it. Queen Street is an amazing and interesting street in Toronto. It hosts very distinct areas in many of the city's historic buildings. The many business improvement areas do their best to enhance character and certain atmospheres along different stretches of Queen Street. From great independent coffee shops and restaurants, fashion stores, galleries and furniture stores, to even brand stores, you will find it all on Queen Street. Although Toronto has many great neighborhoods, Queen Street connects many of the coolest, I think. Second, changing it up a bit. Queen Street has changed a lot in recent years and will keep changing. Gentrification, which should be critically observed though, brings about new opportunities for investors, residents, and tourists. If it is carefully done, Queen Street could become a new focus for and beyond Toronto. Imagine if Toronto had a district like New York City's The Village or Berlin's Prenzlauer Berg, for the people who know it. The recipe so far does not quite work yet. Queen Street does not live up to its full potential yet. First and foremost, there is the transportation dilemma. It does not matter which mode of transportation, car, bike, streetcar you use, you're always stuck in traffic, pretty much at any time of the day and from any direction. And for pedestrians, it isn't always great to walk either. Sidewalks are quite tight and crumbling and don't provide many chances to sit down and rest or just watch people passing by. So the potential dish. Let's build a subway along Queen Street, from St. Joseph's Hospital in the east to the beach in the west. A subway would help the traffic disaster and ensure that people living along the lake can get to work or meet friends on time. A subway would also provide better usage of the space above ground. First, a pedestrian mall from Trinity Bellwoods Park to Church Street should be implemented that would offer great public spaces and a new quality of life in the center of the city. Second, the kilometers west and east of the open-air mall would provide bike lanes, wider sidewalks, and resident parking. Queen Street should become transit-oriented, pedestrian-friendly, and a livable place to be. So my ingredients, I'm going to show them a little bit here on that drawing. So first I'm going to add my subway, and then I will add some wider sidewalks with probably more trees, which you can see kind of here, and the wider sidewalks, and maybe some public art. Fountains, installations, whatever people can come up with. Just invite as many as you can, because I think that Queen Street is all about that. And then maybe we have some more benches, just so you can sit down, and maybe they don't just look like that. Maybe it's kind of all ensembles of kind of benches where people can come together, and benches that kind of act or provide more social interaction, so they're not just spread out along the street. It is really kind of coming together. And then we should have bike lanes, of course, and maybe some light installations for at night, since at dark it shouldn't just kind of become kind of a dead space. It should all be light and friendly and invite people to stay for hanging out at bars and cafes. I'm gonna hang that later a little bit, but to show that I have some more ingredients, this is a different kind of view of Queen Street. And since I'm focusing on the area from Roncesvalles, the hospital, to kind of about the beach on this side, we all know how it looks right now, so I left it open. It's just, And what I would like to emphasize on is a pedestrian mall, which I said. So I don't know how it looks to you, but I try to add my ingredients by saying this is maybe public art that is spread around the mall, stages, so musicians and kind of street artists can just kind of come and be invited to do it, and temporary events, just kind of invite people to come up with whatever they like to. If you have been to other cities like Berlin, things just happen all the time because the space is there, because the public space invites people to just do it and come up with things. I added 2 urban squares. I don't know if you're aware of that. There's the one at Soho Street. That's just a parking lot again, and I think that's just between University and Spadina. And I think it would be a great parking lot to transform into an urban square because it's small, has kind of other houses and buildings around it, and I think it would serve really well for that. So it should all be kind of not for cars, anything. It's really kind of a pedestrian mall, like you maybe know it from European cities. The blue kind of areas are just kind of an indication for that you would have much more space for patios and street cafes. Yeah, well, this way, of course, cars would have to still get through, but pedestrians would have kind of really are more present that way, and it should all slow down this way. What I call the icing for my recipe or my cake, whatever, is maybe the Toronto Eye. People who have been to London, the London Eye, maybe just something that is higher, something that is a landmark for the area. Can be anything else too, some sort of towers or other higher art sculptures. But I think something that invites people for activities would be really nice, something that is fun, something that might be a new landmark for Toronto. Like I said before, just for the rest of the road, because maybe in the future we could close it all down, but maybe for now just a stretch, and maybe we could even start between University and Spadina and then extend it or do it all at once. But for the rest of Queen Street, I think it would be nice if kind of there was a priority for local traffic, so resident parking has kind of priority. You still have the road, but maybe not trying, or other drivers wouldn't try to get through the city as much anymore because it really doesn't serve anybody. No mode of transportation is really working. So here we have bike lanes, or maybe even a bike highway. It's kind of how it looks in Montreal, with like a curb that separates the bike lanes. Wider sidewalks, so it would be still usable too, and more space for people who walk.